All right. So, like I said, today we were talking about Google advertising for tattoo shops. There's been a lot of changes over the last year or so. So, just kind of getting into some of the things that we've seen work a lot better. There's been a lot of changes, especially when it comes to keywords, follow up, how we're building our stuff out for the shops we're working with, and some really important stuff about the follow up process. Like we've been testing. Essentially, if you've heard me talk speed to lead, how quickly you get to a lead. We've been testing an AI bot with some of our clients, and it's pretty darn awesome. It almost has I think last time we checked, 87% reply rate, which if you're reaching out to people and not hearing from them, this is something that's a game changer. All right, so a little bit about us. We are a marketing company that works exclusively with tattoo shops. One of the cool things about that is not only do we get to see what's working in the industry, but we get to bring it to you guys. What we're going to talk about is part of our tattoo shop growth program, where we do a lot with Google Ads, landing pages, automated outreach, Instagram ads, Meta. We don't do TikTok yet, but we're looking into that stuff. Also, building a brand locally is huge. I mean, everybody knows word of mouth is king. Marketing is amazing, but nothing's going to beat the referral from another person that's already been in your shop and had a good experience. And then working with past clients to get them in more often. There's a ton of cool things that every shop should be doing. For example, putting their waiver online versus filling it out with paper. With an online waiver, you can do things like send texts out to your past clients, which works really well anytime you have an event or during slow season if you offer something like 10% off. You can also do things with it like upload it into Meta and make an Instagram. Meta is smart enough that it will actually match your past clients to people out there and only serve those people the ads. So you're essentially getting your ideal audience to see your ads versus wasting it on people who either don't get tattooed, don't like your style, anything like that. So if you're serious about this, turn off your cell phones, turn off social media, have something to take notes. We will, as always, send out a replay in about a week of this. But at least for myself, when I take notes, I get a lot more out of it. If you've ever heard about building a second brain, it's a good thing to check out on YouTube. It's essentially a system of note-taking and reminders that has been extremely helpful, especially for something like this when I'm trying to learn from, if I'm on a webinar learning from someone else, I always do it. This will take probably 45 to 60 minutes. I'm really going to try to keep it in there. Our last webinar went about an hour and a half because we had so much to cover. So we'll try to keep it within the timetable and leave enough time for you guys to ask questions after. Okay, so Timmy, it should be, as long as we've only met one county where you actually couldn't have an online waiver, as long as you can produce them when the health inspector comes in, we've never seen an issue with it. And we do have shops in Texas that use online waivers and they've never had an issue, so I would say yes. But, do your own due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. So what we're going to cover today is actually going over Google Ads, what we're doing, Google Ads versus social media ads, which one is better for which situation, smart mode, which typically if we start working with a tattoo shop that's already running Google Ads, they're running smart mode. There's pros and cons to this, mostly cons, and we'll go over that. Quality score is super important. Nobody really talks about it, but it's what gives us the ability to have the shops that we work with that have a smaller budget than the large franchises, how we can beat out their Google Ads using quality score. It's super important. Avoiding the pitfalls, conversion tracking, which if you've heard me talk is extremely, extremely important. Google and you don't know the return you're getting. Google doesn't know how to optimize if you're not sending back the correct conversion. So when somebody calls a shop or when somebody fills out a form. Crafting a landing page. We've made some updates to our landing pages with all the split testing we do with the shops we work with. So we will be going over those. And then we'll actually build an ad live. We'll show you how we do it. We'll show you all the settings. We'll show you the words we use. And then a Q&A after that. So let's see. Who am I? My name is Jesse. I am the owner of InkLink. We're a marketing company that works exclusively with tattoo shops. I used to say here in the US, but we now have shops in New Zealand and Australia. We specialize in direct response marketing. So that means that's something like Google ads, Instagram ads. If you put $1 in, as long as you're tracking correctly, you know exactly how much you're getting out versus branding, which is, building your brand. I have been in marketing since 2016. I worked in construction for 15 years before that. We spend a lot of money on advertising for ourselves and the shops we work with. And, it works when it's done correctly, which is what we're trying to show more people how to do. Because there's a lot of money spent that just goes nowhere, and then people think it doesn't work. But usually it's just a few little things you got to tweak. I always get this question. I have tattoos. Been getting tattooed for about 19 years. I love the industry. I've been tattooed all over the world. Some of the best people. I absolutely love the shops I get to work with and the artists. And it's a good time. And then just a picture of the team. Audio is a little low. I'll try to speak up a little bit. All right, so let's start talking about Google Ads. So why Google Ads over something like social media advertising? The biggest thing is there's a lot higher intent behind that person filling out a form and getting a hold of you, or getting a hold of your shop. This is something that's gone to Google and looked up tattoo shop near me, tattoo shops, Seattle, Washington. Tattoo artists, stuff like that, versus social media. It's just somebody scrolling through the ad or scrolling through. There's not a lot of intent behind that. Now, you can definitely get some good results off of social media ads, don't get me wrong, but the intent coming from Google is obviously much higher. And it's fairly easy to figure out the return on marketing you're getting as long as you're tracking that stuff, as long as conversion tracking is set up correctly. It's like that's the biggest thing. If you're going to take like one thing away from this, is conversion tracking needs to be set up correctly, because you don't know if your ads are working. You don't know how much you're getting on a return for your marketing if this is not set up correctly. And then it's easy to beat other shops that are spending more money than yours. That's one of the coolest things with Quality Score and how we set stuff up. So this is one keyword. We use a handful of them, but this is just one of the keywords. And I think this was last month, 1.5 million people searched tattoo shops near me. That's only one keyword. That's only one keyword. So even if you just use this one keyword, you would be getting absolutely awesome results, and you'd be getting people that are looking for a tattoo shop. Seems like a few people are having issues with the audio. Okay. And Nicole, yes, that's one of the biggest things, is needing something like a thank you page so you can actually track the conversions. If you're using something like Typeform, you can actually embed the tracking code straight into the form. But if not, you really, really do need a thank you page. All right, so Google Ads versus social media advertising. Pros, and when we say social media advertising, we do a lot with Instagram. It has the best return for the most part. You can get some good stuff off of Facebook. TikTok is still, it works. We don't have a system exactly down for it, which is why we don't offer it yet. But Instagram works every time. It's a very visual platform. which is obviously great for tattoo shops, even though about a year and a half ago, they changed their algorithm to make it more like TikTok, so it's less about pictures, more about reels and stuff, but that's for a different day. So the things about Instagram, it's easier than Google Ads. Even if you're going through the ad manager, we always recommend you don't boost posts, but you actually build out your ads in Instagram or Meta through the ad manager because there's a ton more control. Typically, the cost per consultation request, cost per consult is cheaper than Google advertising. Again, it's a very visual platform, which is great for tattoo artists. There's better targeting options, which is one of the awesome things. You can target by income. You can target, like I said, by people that look like your past clients. There's a ton of really good targeting options that Google will only unlock for you after you spend 50 grand on their platform, which is ridiculous, but that's how they do it. And it tends to be better for getting bigger pieces. Now, cons behind it, less intent, like we talked about. Somebody typically who is scrolling through social media isn't like, hey, I'm going to go get a tattoo tomorrow. They're going to Google for that. So there's not as much intent. There's more follow-up needed. You need to dial in your targeting, like I just said. If you just have you don't have your audience dialed in that you're showing the ads to, it's a huge waste of money. A lot of times, if it's not set up correctly, you'll get ghosted after you give an estimate, especially if you're doing like messenger ads and having people send you messages when they see your ads. You get a lot of tire kickers there. And again, it involves a lot more follow-up than Google advertising. One of the best things about Google ads is just having people call you, and you can set it so the ads only run when the shop is open. That's the easiest. You're on the phone with them. Really easy to set stuff. Now, Google advertising, pros. It's people looking for a tattoo shop like we talked about. Consultation requests can cost the same when done correctly as social media advertising. Then there's less changes than Meta. I mean, if you've ever tried to work with Meta support, you know how terrible they can be. They make changes constantly. They're testing stuff constantly. They have errors constantly. It can be very, very frustrating to try to get stuff done with Meta, especially when it gives you an error, but it doesn't tell you what the error is and you have no clue how to fix it. We have a dedicated person that just does support for Inklink, and he spends a lot of time talking with Meta versus Google. So Google definitely has less issues. And great for getting people in your chair now. Like I said, it's people especially looking for a tattoo shop near me. They're typically looking to come in fairly soon, if not that day. Now the cons, the trap of smart mode, which we will talk about. Smart mode is the worst thing to happen to Google ads. There's a much steeper learning curve, though, in expert mode. You get much better results, but there's a steeper learning curve, and we'll go over that. And it's not set it and forget it. A lot of people think Google Ads is, especially in expert mode, you can't just turn it on and then leave it. You have to come in and make changes typically weekly. And you are going to get more people looking for smaller stuff. They want to come in right now with them and their friends and get a little banger. You get less bigger pieces off of it. So that's one of the other issues that we've seen with it. Now, before we actually get into the advertising, so I want to talk about speed to lead. And yeah, Yelp fucking sucks. Excuse my language. They are the absolute worst. They have the greatest salespeople. They will bug you forever. But typically they don't do too great. So speed to lead. This is a concept we've been pushing more and more. We actually have an AI bot that we are using, which I'll show you an example of, that has been killing it because it reaches out immediately. My example that I always use is if I needed to call a plumber and I went to Google and looked at plumbers near me, if I call one of them and they don't pick up, I'm not waiting for them to call me back. I'm calling the next one. Or if they fill out a form, someone's not going to sit around and wait for you to get back to them 3 days later through email. They've already been tattooed by the shop that got back to them the quickest. So speed to lead is huge with anything, any kind of paid advertising. There's a big difference between organic and paid. And these are some of the reasons why. 78% of people are going to do business with the first shop that they speak with. I mean, that's the only metric you really need to know when it comes to speed to lead. 15% will do the second or third, 7% will do the fourth or further. So 78% of people are going to choose the first shop that they speak with when it comes to Google advertising. So if you can't pick up your phone, this doesn't work very well. If you can't get back to people quickly, this doesn't work very well. If you are trying to communicate through email, this does not work very well. I mean, this goes for pretty much any paid advertising, but emphasis on Google. You are 21 times more likely to get a hold of somebody within 5 minutes than after 30. And we have, like, there's been a ton of studies done on this, because this is, not just in the tattoo industry, but any industry, speed to lead is huge. But with this AI bot that we've been testing, it is very, very apparent that this is true. We have a shop that was having issues getting a hold of people. We implemented this bot, I think about a week ago. And so far, of the 10 people that have come in, all 10 of them have had a conversation with the bot because it reaches out so fast. They haven't been ghosted. So speed to lead is pretty much everything. So ways to contact somebody when they fill out a form, if they're obviously not calling the shop. Calls, easiest way to get somebody in the shop. You're on the phone with them. You don't have to play the back and forth. If you're a shop that you have somebody call you and then you tell them to book online or go look at Instagram, pick an artist, or you're adding more steps, you're going to see a huge drop off on the return you're getting because you're just adding more friction to that. Even if it involves changing your internal system a little bit, the less steps you have to get somebody in your door, the more you're going to get. I mean, that's with any industry. If you tell me to get a plumber out to my house, I have to go figure out which plumber I want online, and then I have to fill out a form for them online and give them details about it, or the next shop just says, yeah, we'll come out right now. Guess which shop I'm picking, or which plumber. Text is a great way to contact people. It is the most responded to. The only issue with outbound calls is if somebody doesn't know your number, they're not going to pick up the phone, generally. I never do. Most people don't. Text is a really good way to go. Even if it's just a text to get them on a phone call, awesome. And email, it has the lowest contact rate, an average of 9%. I mean, it's still 9 people out of 100, but you should never do a back and forth with somebody that comes from a paid ad via email. You're almost positively going to lose them. And we have the numbers and the data to back that up. This isn't like somebody, like I said, that has been word of mouth, that's been a referral. Those people will wait longer because they already know what they want. Or if you've already worked with that person, they'll wait longer. This is somebody that doesn't know you, doesn't know your shop. They found you on Google. And this is the same with Instagram ads. Do not contact them through email. Wrong button again. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show really quick. This is an AI booking bot, and I have permission from the shop owner to share this stuff. But it's pretty cool because people think AI booking bot, man, it's going to sound super robotic. It's going to be terrible. They're going to be able to tell it's a robot. So I just wanted to go through this conversation and kind of show you how it goes, because this is a really cost-effective way to essentially have a front desk person that doesn't take a break, that's always in a good mood. I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest things when we go through conversations from shops and potential clients. The people seem like they're in a bad mood. The front desk person isn't. I mean, they're not salespeople. They're not happy. They don't have this like happy persona they put on. So this is actually a great way to build rapport and make somebody feel comfortable before coming into your shop. So this came in, let me see, at 10:26 p.m. on Sunday, actually yesterday, so this conversation just happened. And then the bot, so I'm just going to say also these people are in Central Time Zone, and it's showing you my time zone, so it's showing you that it's PST, but it actually reached out a little bit past 8 a.m., not 6 a.m. So it just reaches out, says, hey, it looks like you're coming for a free consultation. The person responds, yep, what times do you have? They're going to keep going. And so the bot actually knows the day it asked. Again, this is running through ChatGPT 4. It's extremely smart. It sounds like a person. It thinks it's a person working at the front desk of a tattoo shop. So offers them Wednesday or Friday, and then asks them about their tattoo. This is one of the things that most tattoo shops miss, is actually trying to build some kind of rapport and ask them about their ideas before actually trying to get them in the shop. So this guy wants to get a sleeve. And this is the one of the things I love about it the most. It actually reads this and then gives a response to it. I have a few ideas on or a few tattoos on my left arm already. Want to make it a sleeve and make it flow, if that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Sleeves are all about the flow. And then it offers them a week or a weekend. This week or next week. Shoot for Friday at 10. And then it actually books that consultation for them in a calendar. The shop gets the notification. It tells them they're booked. And then they'll actually get reminders to show up. And this is something I just threw in here last minute because I wanted to show you guys. Because again, it's been a game changer. But it doesn't sound like a robot. It sounds like an actual person. And again, it doesn't take breaks. It's always in a good mood. It's something we're starting to do for more and more of the shops we work with, especially if they don't have a dedicated front desk person, or even if they do. Like, the speed to lead is a huge thing. Really quick, any questions about that one before I move on? Nicole, and yeah, that's one of the coolest things. Like, we have some automated stuff that's like reminders and stuff, but this, it sounds like it's an actual person, which is so freaking cool. And you essentially program it to tell it about your shop. So if you were going to ask, or if this person was to ask, what's the shop minimum? What are your hours? Where are you located? Anything like that, it will actually give them an answer. Is it better to book consultations on a calendar than to just leave it open for people to walk in, whatever? We like to book them on a calendar because then we can send them reminders and we know when they're coming in. If you just tell them to come in whenever, it can get pushed off quite a bit. So we always recommend actually setting on a calendar. And this bot actually goes off of a calendar, like it sees when the openings are and it tells them. So it's pretty cool. What software is this? This is called CloseBot. And we actually did a podcast last week with the creator of this, which will be coming out either this evening or next Monday. I'm not sure. But yeah, super simple to use. Again, any shop that we work with gets access to this for free, but it's fairly cheap. I think it's $80 a month. Plus you pay for the texts, which aren't very expensive, but this is the best front desk person you could ask for. Like, it's pretty darn amazing. Can you do a webinar in the future of how you created your bot? 100%, 100%. We're planning on doing one here probably in the future, but again, CloseBot, they are the software we use, and then we just program the back end of it, which makes it pretty effective, and almost anybody can do it. All right, avoiding the pitfalls of Google Ads, because there are a few. Smart mode. Smart mode is extremely easy to get going. The problem is you lose about 80% of the targeting options, and the conversion tracking it sets up is extremely bad. It will tell you got a conversion when somebody goes to your website. When somebody hits a click to call button, that doesn't necessarily mean there's a call that was made to your shop. Somebody could have accidentally hit it and then they just click off of it. We had a shop a few months ago. They had, it was like 62 click to calls, but when we looked at the actual calls that came in, it was 6. So it's extremely, it makes you want to, it wants you to think your ads are doing extremely well, even if maybe they're not. But unless you go in there and manually change the tracking, you'll never know. So again, I mean, you can set up smart ads to be more effective. It's never going to be as good as smart mode, but as long as you set up tracking correctly, it can work. It's not great. The other good option with this, especially if you're a smaller shop or you're a single artist, you don't have to have a website. You can send it to your Google My Business, which is extremely convenient for people getting started out or just starting out. So it does have a few things you can do with it. It's just if you have the time or the money to hire somebody to do expert mode that actually knows the industry, highly recommend using them. So this is a shop that we are working with, and this is an expert mode. From May 1st to October 30th, we made almost 450 changes in the account. Like I said, it is not set it and forget it. That's the biggest thing. You need to be going there at least once a week and making changes and adding negative keywords. But the good thing is it gets better and better and better. So Google Ads will not work if you don't pick up your phone. One of the cool things is you can have these ads only run when, I hate that thumbs up thing. You can have these ads only run when your shop is open, but if nobody's picking up the phone, they're just going to go to the next shop. So if you can't pick up your phone, don't run Google Ads. If you reply via email, this is not going to work very well. Like I said, you're going to get about a 9% response rate. First, if you set up that automated bot or something like that, you're going to get closer to a 90% response rate. And if you can't get back to people quickly, kind of the same deal. If somebody requests a consultation, it takes you 2 days to get back to them, especially through Google, they've already gone to the next shop and already been in there probably. All right, expert. Does anybody have any questions about that before I move into expert mode? I know I'm talking a little bit fast because I want to get through this, actually build an ad for you guys, and then answer any questions. All right, let's go. So how to switch to expert mode. In your settings, when you're looking at Google advertising, so this will either be at the top right, or if you have a newer version, which I don't know how Google makes that decision. We have people that create ad accounts that get the old version, and we have people that create ad accounts that get the new version. But if you're in the old version, you'll see this in the top right. If you're in the new version, you'll see this at the bottom left on the toolbar down there. And you just click that. It'll say, are you sure you want to do this? And you make the switch. So a big part of how Google Ads works, even in smart mode, are the keywords. Those are the most important part. So there's 3 types. There's broad keywords, and that essentially lets Google show your ads to anybody that types in anything that has to do with tattoos. We used to never use this. We have started lately testing it, and in certain areas it's actually worked really well, but we'll get into that in a second. Phrase match is the second kind. It gives Google some leeway, but if you're doing phrase match like tattoo shops near me and someone puts in tattoos of cats, it's not going to show up. It's got to be a little bit closer to what you actually put the keyword in. And then exact match is the last type. So someone has to type in exactly what that keyword is. So if it was tattoo shops near me, that person would have to put in exactly tattoo shops near me. It works really well. There's just not a lot of traction with it, so you have to have a handful of them running. So these are the keywords we use. These are almost the only keywords you will need to use. We used to have a giant list of them. As changes have been made in Google, we have started changing what is working and what is not working. So tattoo shops near me, and in quotations like that means it's a phrase match. And if you need to keep that within 3 to 5 miles of your shop, the radius that you're showing that. Outside of that, unless you're in a really rural area, you're going to see a big drop off because you're not near them. And if you're in a place like New York, like 1 to 3 miles max, because New York is so densely populated. Like we were actually there. I was there 2 weeks ago. And to get 3 miles in an Uber takes 30 minutes. Like that's not near me. What I would consider near me. I want within 10 minutes of walking, something like that. So it depends where you're at, but I would never do more than 5 miles unless you're in an extremely spread out town. The next keyword we've been using is tattoo shops as a broad match. This takes a little bit more. You have to do more negative keyword stuff. But if you are in a smaller area and tattoo shops near me is not getting enough clicks because there's just not enough traction, we've been testing tattoo shops, and in some cases, it's actually done better than tattoo shops near me. And then the exact match, tattoo shops near me, in those brackets means it's exact match. Always gets the best results. Can never spend more than, I don't know, $60, $70 a month. There's just not enough people that putting those exact words in, but it always works really well. So things to know about expert mode. You still need to set up tracking. Don't go off of Google's tracking they have set up for you, especially if you're doing phone calls. You need to send it to the traffic to a website or a landing page. We recommend landing pages. We'll get into there in a little, and I'll actually take you through one of our landing pages. You need to have a budget of at least $500 a month with expert mode. With smart mode, you can get away with probably about $300, but you're just not going to get enough traction if you have less than that. And if you do not have the time to make the adjustments and read the analytics, or you don't want to, hire somebody. Obviously, you can hire us, but there's plenty of people on like Fiverr that are cheaper. They're just not going to know the industry like we know the industry. But if you can't go in there and make changes, it's not going to work nearly to the best of its ability. Quality score. This is how we beat out shops spending a lot more money than some of the shops that we work with. So essentially how it works is if Google thinks that your ad is more relevant than this other tattoo shop, they can be bidding more to get clicks, but it'll show your ad above it because Google thinks your ad is going to get more clicks, which will make them more money. So if you got 10 clicks at $2 versus this other guy who's bidding $5 but only gets 1 click, Google makes more money. So that's how we're able to beat out bigger shops, quality score. So where to find it? Again, this is going to could be a little bit different. You have the new one or the old one, but you'll go to keywords and then search keywords, and then it'll show you the quality score. And there's 3 different parts to this. There's a landing page experience. There's the expected CTR, which is the click-through rate, and then there's the ad relevance. Landing page experience, just how relevant your landing page is to your ads and how quick it loads are the 2 biggest things. And essentially it just wants to see the words you're using in your ads on the landing page. This accounts for about 15% of the score. Expected click-through rate is Google thinking how well your ad is going to do. This one could be a little finicky. But it's only, I think, like another 15%, 15 or 20. I can't remember what the last metrics coming out of it were, but ad relevance is a huge one. This is the one that makes up the biggest part. So Google wants to see that what is happening or what is being said in your ads match your keywords. So if you have tattoo shops near me, it needs to say that somewhere in your actual advertisement, if that makes sense. Conversion tracking. This is a giant one. And we're not going to get super deep into conversion tracking because there's a million videos on YouTube of how to set it up. But if you don't have it set up correctly, like none of these numbers are going to be correct, and you're not going to, because like looking at the performance, this is from a shop we're actually working with. Obviously, where we want to shut off our tattoo shop Lancaster, piercing shops near me. Tattoo shops near me is doing the best by far. But if tracking isn't set up correctly, you'd have no idea. You'd let all of these run. And so we wouldn't be taking that $100 from these 2 and putting them into this and getting, another 8 consultations for the exact same price. So it's huge to have conversion tracking set up correctly. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know how profitable you are, or if you're losing money, Google Ads and any other ad platform, these platforms are smart. If you've seen The Social Dilemma, It's creepy how smart they are. They know everything about you. But because of that, they're able to optimize. The longer you run an ad, the more conversions you get. Google or Meta is going to take a look at those people actually converting and then start showing more ads to people like them. Even if you have a lookalike audience in Meta, this is still a must because it can make your ads even better, work even better. The default tracking is horrible. You have to set this up. It doesn't take very long. It's a pain in the butt the first time, but even with YouTube videos, it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. And you don't need to use, if you're using Google Analytics, if you're a little more advanced of a shop, you're using either Google Analytics or Tag Manager. You don't have to do that. You can if you want, but there's conversion tracking built into Ad Manager. I just realized my chat didn't scroll down, so I missed everybody's questions. Cool. That's always fun. Just take subways in New York. That's what I ended up doing. It was my first time in Manhattan. And looked at the Uber and then looked at Subway, and that is what I did. What are my thoughts on creating a campaign per style of tattoo? There's a thing called the Google Keyword Planner, and it will give you a readout of how many people are searching for whatever keywords. Suggest trying that. We do that with some shops that only do ornamental tattoos. Outside of that, make sure you use that tool, the Keyword Planner, because if you're looking for if you want more traditional tattoos, people don't look up traditional tattoo. They look up American classic tattoos. So just make sure you look up and figure out what's actually being searched for. A lot of people getting tattooed aren't tattoo artists. They don't know what a tattoo style is called for the most part. So just make sure you go in there and make sure there's enough volume for you to even bid on it, how much it's going to cost. You can get a lot of info out of the Keyword Planner. But that's always my recommendation. Like I said, we do it for ornamental stuff and some traditional shops. We don't currently use UTMs. Okay, we do for a few shops that have a little more complicated of a system going on. But we usually go off the analytics between Google or Meta mixed with, we bring everything into a CRM that we use, and we use the landing page builder Unbounce. So between the three of those, we get a pretty good idea of what's going on. If you know about UTMs, you probably know that Google tracking isn't always 100%, neither is Meta's. So we use three of those combined when we're actually looking through. Yes, Meta definitely does fluff their numbers. 100% agreed. All right, so crafting a converting landing page. And I'm actually going to pull one up for you here real quick, but as I do that, so a landing page, we use the software Unbounce. It's fairly cheap, I think $30 a month if it's just a single person. I mean, we spend more because we have a bunch of accounts under it, but it's much easier to actually build. So I'm getting this pulled up. Than an actual website. And one of the coolest things about it is you can split test, which is absolutely huge. And they are made to load faster. So let me share the screen. So this is a template that we use. We use a handful of templates. We're always split testing stuff. And we don't double up the tattoos down here, but these are just ones we used. But this is what one will look like that converts pretty darn well. You got your logo, the ability to call. Someone clicks on this, they'll come up to a form. Now, we don't obviously have a survey attached because it's just a template. But with all of our split testing, this has done the absolute best. Oh, I erased it on the other one. Let me do it this way. So that was the desktop version. One of the biggest things anytime you're making a landing page or website is making sure the mobile version is optimized. Almost everybody is going to be searching on a phone. So this is actually, what was the last time we checked? Like 89% of people coming from Google or social media looking for tattoo shops are on mobile. So make sure it looks good. Actually looks good on a phone, not just on the actual, like a computer. And again, we'll send all this out. If you want to copy this, go for it. But that's how we build out our landing pages. We always recommend split testing stuff. So there'll be 2 versions of this page with 2 different images. Some will just work better than others, depending on where you're at, depending on the type of ads you're running, the platform you're running on. Sometimes pictures of smaller tattoos look good. Sometimes pictures of just back pieces and sleeves works better. Always split test stuff. It makes it way, way bigger. Landing pages made on Unbounce. Yeah, Migs, and that's why so when we do anything like Google advertising, we always negative keyword the shop name because we don't want to take any of that organic traffic out. And we just keep it totally separate. On my website, people can book Flash and pay for the deposit through a checkout, just like Product on Site. It's through Shopify. I also have a booking form for custom consults where you recommend choose one or the other for my site to improve. As long as they're on different pages and you're tracking what's going where, it shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I would definitely have 2 different pages, 2 different calls to action, like you're saying. Have you had success with retargeting on Google? We've had mixed results. We do a lot of search campaigns, which is what we'll go through when we actually build out an ad here shortly. Display campaigns, we've had mixed results. We actually have a lot better, like if we're getting into the bigger shops we work with, retargeting them on social media tends to work a lot better than retargeting them on Google. And the bot is working with the landing page at the moment. Correct. So as soon as somebody fills out this form, if there was a survey here, but again, it's a template, it will go into the system that we use, and that bot will reach out. We have it delayed 1 minute, so it doesn't seem like it's this instant bot. But yeah, as soon as that survey is submitted, it will trigger the workflow that has the timer for a minute, and then the bot will actually reach out. All right. Did anybody have a question about the landing pages? So that's on the MIGS, that's on our survey. Anytime somebody fills out the survey, there's a check or box they have to check before they are able to submit that. Understanding that we're going to reach out and we're going to use the cookies. And, one other thing, actually, I appreciate you reminding me. So Google is always going to look for a privacy policy. I'm just going to go here. On your page, you should always have a privacy policy. Google Ads is going to look for it. But that way you're going to be compliant with anything you need. If you don't know how to build one out, ChatGPT does pretty darn well. Obviously, just make sure you have somebody to look it over. But yeah, we have it on the survey, and then we have a privacy policy. Google will, again, when it's crawling your page, will actually look for a link and a button to a privacy policy. So make sure there is one on there. This should be on a website. This should be on anything you have that is using cookies like the Google Pixel or Datasets Now or Google Analytics. Legally, I mean, it needs to be there, and it's not super hard to get one set up. So just make sure you have one. You need to make one per promotion to be able to track them. Yeah, like if you're going to test different things, yeah. I mean, it will still track inside of Meta or Google. So if you're running a promotion like on Google, just make it its own campaign that you can track it in there versus having to like make different landing pages, if that makes sense. I am way behind. I knew this was going to happen. That was the one we just showed. Okay, let's actually build an ad. And then we'll get to questions. So, all right, so so right here we're building an ad. We are in expert mode. So when you go to create an ad, this is the screen you'll see. We always do create without goal guidance because we already know what we want. Search campaigns have always worked the best. Display campaigns, what you use for retargeting, again, we just haven't had a lot of luck with it. It's not bad for brand awareness, brand building, because it's super cheap. But this is like if you're going to, I don't know, Fox News or CBS News or something, and then you see all the ads on the side. That's what a display ad is. Performance Max, we've tested. Haven't been able to get it better than doing it manually in search ads, but it seems like it's Google's kind of going that way. So we'll do a search ad. We already have our conversion in place. If you do not have conversion tracking set up, you go to Tools and Settings, Conversions, and again, there's a million YouTube videos of how to set it up. Continue. Demo, we don't check any of these, so we want to set it up ourselves. So what do you want to focus on? You would think conversions, but we've done a ton of testing. There's a lot of data out there that shows if you start with clicks until you get 30 plus conversions, it works a lot better because you just want to get, since you're having a new ad campaign, you just want to get the maximum amount of data into it. And then after about 30 conversions, we'll typically switch to a max conversion campaign. It's one of those things you have to test because we've seen clicks, even after 100 conversions, still do better than a max CPA or max conversion campaign. We always want to set a max cost per click. If you don't do that, we've seen Google spend $14 on a click, $15 on a click. Depends on your area, depends how competitive it is, but always recommend starting at about $2.21. And then once you start getting data, you can decide whether you want to spend more or less on a click. And bid for new customers only. Sounds great. You need to upload stuff, especially if you're in a bigger area. We never mess with it. Just isn't worth the squeeze. Okay, so here we're actually setting this up. We want search network off. We want display network off. We do not want to show on those. That is going to burn out the budget for nothing. Enter another location, advanced search, radius, and then set how many miles you want. Again, so let's say let's do the tattoo shop near me. So we're going to do 5 miles. And typically I would put your actual shop in or your street so it gets a better idea of what's 5 miles from you. But we'll just say Seattle for now. We don't mess with any of this. You can get into it in a future time, but for right now, it's not going to make a huge, huge difference. No, create myself. Don't want your help. So the two I would always suggest doing, tattoo shops, and that's going to be broad, and then phrase, tattoo shops near me. That's it. That's all you need. We have never gotten to a point where we've needed more keywords to make sure we spend the budget. So that's totally fine right there. Find our URL. Just going to grab this. Now display path. This is another one of those things that during testing we've seen that if you actually put your keywords in here, it helps. So we always do tattoo shops near me. How do you prevent bots to click the ad and drive up the PPC cost? I will get to that as soon as we're done with building this because we use a software that works really well. Phone calls, don't recommend doing this. It just gets hit a lot. And it can mess up your tracking if you don't have it set up correctly. The best people you're going to get are people that actually go to the landing page and then call. All right, so headlines, we have templates. I'm just going to grab a couple of them. So the tattoo shop name. Best tattoo shop city. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see we have a handful of them. And if you end up watching the replay, best tattoo shop near me, exceptional tattoo services. And you're going to want to change this up depending on your shop. Like these are just our kind of our templates we go off of, but we always want to change it up. What you'll see is it'll ask you to add headlines, include popular keywords, make them unique, and make your descriptions unique. And that actually plays into your quality score. But stuff like that is going off of your keywords. Description, let's see, what do we have right here? So this is one that we like to use a lot. Looking for the best tattoo shop near me. That's one of the keywords, best tattoo shop near me. You should have at least, what does it give you? Normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We always have 3. So 11 headlines because it will constantly test your headlines. Descriptions, you always want at least 4 because, again, it's going to test automatically which one works the better. Images, if you can add images, go ahead and do it. Add 4 to 5 of your best. You might not be able to. It depends how old your account is. If it's been verified, there's a handful of different things. If you can't, don't worry about it. Not the biggest deal. One of the things we want to do when we're building an ad too is make it as big as possible. Like if somebody opens up their phone, we want our ad to take up half of that damn screen. And it's one of the mistakes a lot of shops make and a lot of smart ads will do is they'll show you this tiny little like bleep. When you can actually make your ad take up way more real estate, take up way more of that page. And it's a subconscious thing. If somebody sees 3 ads, 2 of them are this big, and one of them's like this with pictures, they're going to click the big one with pictures. And again, nobody does this stuff. So site links, these are just, we'll just use this one, it's fine. Oh, I can't see it because this thing's in my way. A site link is going to do the same thing. It's just going to make that ad a little bit bigger. Make sure your address is here to make that ad a little bit bigger. There's more assets, promotions, pricing, structure snippets, all this stuff, call outs, just makes that ad fatter and fatter. Like nobody for the most part is ever going to read this stuff, but it's just going to make your ad so much bigger. Of course, right now is the first time they're cutting the yard this year, or cutting the lawn. Cool. Next, we'll get to budget. All right. If you can hear, they're mowing the yard and they're at my door. It's cool. It's a good time. First time this year. So if you're doing $500 a month, you're going to be at about $17. And then it's just going to give you kind of what's going on, an overview of the ad. There might be some errors in this one because, again, we just set it up really quick because I'm like 30 minutes behind. And then launch it. And that's kind of the high level of how we actually build out an ad. Nicole, actually, no, ClickCease is what we use. ClickCease is an awesome little software you can put on your landing page, and it will do stuff like if somebody clicks your ad more than twice in 10 minutes, it will block their IP address so they can't get to it anymore and they can't keep clicking on your ad to run it up. You can also block VPNs. You can block people from outside the United States. It's a really good way to make sure you have the least amount of fraudulent clicks as possible. Another thing they will do is they will actually, you can download a form from them of all the clicks that they say are fraudulent, and you can give that to Google, and Google will reimburse you for those, which is pretty cool. All right. Does anybody have any questions about that? I know I went over that fairly fast because we're already at an hour. All right, cool. That's wrong one. That's okay. Okay, I mean that's it. What questions do you guys have? That is essentially the high level of how to run a good Google ad. Do we work with permanent makeup artists? Yes, we do. We actually have a few shops we work with that do permanent makeup. So is the goal for the landing page to have the phone number for calls, not Google ad that pops up? Yeah, we want people to call from the landing page. We've done a lot of testing with the call extensions or the call only ads in Google Ads. And it's typically, you see a lot more spam with it. You see a lot of people hitting it by mistake. A lot of calls that are made and then hung up before it even rings. So we recommend not doing that and having them go to a landing page. Again, if somebody clicks that, it counts as a click and you get charged. Is there any way that other Google's recommendation to assets, how much people spend in your area, in your category? Not really. Google's always going to tell you to spend more. I mean, if you ever get an email from Google saying, hey, your ads are underperforming, they could be shown 79% more of the time. Let's get on a call and figure it out. All they're doing is telling you to raise your budget so you get seen more because your ads, like that's it. We always recommend starting out with $500 a month and then going from there. That's the minimum. After you actually can gauge your return on investment, you can scale it up. But that's the starting thing, starting amount we tell everybody. Adding extensions 100% does work with Quality Score. We just don't do the call extension. Do not like that one for the reasons I mentioned. Do you use the high-level calendar? Yep, we do use the high-level calendar. So that bot we were talking about, CloseBot, connects to high-level, and high-level connects to Google Calendars, and that's how we set up when the bot knows when it can book consultations. Any other questions, guys? Cool. What if you already have Acuity set up? So I know a handful of people use it. Maria, can it connect to Google Calendar? Thank you, Migs. Appreciate it. Omar, no, we don't have a lot of people that use Stripe and GHL because we don't actually do the bookings for the shops we work with. Because we don't quote, we don't do stuff like that. We just send the person to the shop to do that stuff. You guys work integrating with HubSpot. Yes, we can. We have, I think, 2 shops right now that use HubSpot, one that uses Salesforce, which is an animal, but is the platform specific for tattoos? No, you can use it for anything. Which CRMs do we use? Personally, for us, we use High Level. Absolutely love High Level, but we've worked out of more than I could name. Yeah, Salesforce is it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Yes, the bot will do the appointment for the consultation. This is essentially, so if you do consultations in person, if you do them over the phone, if you do them via video call, this will set it for you, which is absolutely awesome. And the only other concern people usually have is, okay, do people show up for these? Yeah, they do. It triggers a reminder system so the person will get the confirmation, obviously, and then the bot tells them, hey, you booked blah, blah, blah for this day and time. They'll get a 1-day reminder, a 4-hour reminder, and a 1-hour reminder about their consultation. It works really, really well. With tweaks, it could work well for other service-based businesses, I assume. Yeah, 100%. That's the good thing about AI. It's smart enough that you could do this for literally anything. For the lead generation, what do you recommend for smaller shops? Instagram's the number one. You don't have to spend quite as much. You get a good return on it. And again, with that bot that we have set up, it works really, really well. Again, as long as the follow-up's done right, you do it quickly. Instagram does work really well. It's something we're actually starting to do more and more of as they make tweaks and Google makes tweaks to it. Next month, we'll probably do a webinar on the changes we've made to our Instagram stuff for the advertising we're doing for tattoo shops, because it's changed a lot in the last year. When will the bot be available? Martin, the bot is available now, my dude. Just shoot me a text. We'll get it set up for you guys. Bob, and for a solo studio, what about a solo studio? Migs, the SMS platform is High Level. So it does text, it does emails, it does almost everything. High Level is awesome. So every single client we have, whether they use it or not, we put them on High Level, because that's how we build out pretty much everything we do outside of the advertising. What do you recommend for someone who gets a lot of Instagram DMs? Okay, so you can use this bot. Again, I think it's going to be through High Level, but you can have it talk to people in Instagram. That's one of the things. So we use it for text messaging after somebody books a consultation, but you can have this done for emails, or if you miss a call, you can trigger the bot. If you get a message on Facebook, if you get a message on Instagram, if you get a DM through your Google My Business, there's a million different ways to trigger this bot. It's just how you want to set it up. And again, we only use it through High Level. I don't know what's available outside of that. That is the medium we use for the actual sending of text, conversations, stuff like that. Bob, is this too much for a solo? For a solo, again, I would probably recommend Instagram ads. It's a better way to go. You only need to spend $300 a month, and then you can start scaling up from there. I have 3 Googles, one for S&P, one for custom tattooing, and one for, small, closed-minded. We are next to Portland, Oregon, in Washington. Maria, are you going to the Evergreen next week? We will be there actually doing a presentation. First and longest. Yeah. What are you most successful at for tattooers, Google or Instagram? It depends. It depends what they want because you're going to have 2 different kinds of audiences. Like we have a shop we work with right now down in Vallejo, California. It's a single artist. All he does is black and gray. Amazing artist, by the way. Really, really good artist. But all he does is black and gray, and his minimum is 4 hours. And so for that, we use Instagram because it's easier to target those kind of people. What do you recommend for a new tattoo shop opening? Google advertising is going to be really good to get people in the door instantly. Instagram is going to be really good for building a brand. And so I'm not talking about actually sending people to like getting a chair today, but it's really, really easy, especially compared to traditional advertising like radio, billboards, stuff like that, to use Instagram. With their campaign type brand awareness, you can get thousands of people to learn about your shop within 20 miles of your studio for pennies on the dollar. I mean, $50 a month, something like that. Get a lot of consultations over Instagram and get them booked there. An assistant would probably be the best for that problem with there being so many recorders. Yeah, an assistant, or again, the bot. So one of the cool things about it is you can teach it all about you. There's a database that you can put in. And again, we use it for the basic questions for a shop, hour, price, location, stuff like that, a few other things. But if you want to write about yourself and who this bot is and what it's supposed to do, it will be your personal assistant. Like if you don't want to do, black and gray work and you only want to do trash poker or something like that, you can program that into the bot when it's talking to people. Maria, yes, 100%. If you are by there, I'll be flying in Friday morning, and then presenting Friday afternoon, and then no plans Saturday besides wandering around. Thanks. Yep. Any other questions, guys? I've got another 20 minutes booked, that I put in my calendar for this. So if anybody has any questions, more than happy to answer them. Oh, you're in Vancouver, nice. So we maintain it after. If we're running ads for a shop, or that we're running ads for a shop that we're working with, which we obviously would be, we maintain them. We do everything. That's the one thing the AI would not be able to do is personalize quotes. It'd be able to pretty much do anything else, unless you give it parameters of like, hey, a 4-inch by 4-inch piece is going to be $600. Then it would be able to. If not, it's not at a place where it can look at a picture yet and determine stuff. I'm sure that's coming with all the crazy advances in AI. Even just the last year is nuts. Where do you find out how much your services will cost? So I'll tell you guys right now, we start at $1,000 a month, and that includes ad spend. We have shops in bigger places spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month. If that's in your budget, awesome. Set a call with us. We'll be happy to talk and see if we'll be a good fit for you guys. And one of the big things is we're pretty darn quick. I'm not sure if you've seen some of our other webinars, but using stuff like a past client list, we can get you going pretty darn quick. So what's the difference between hiring us versus doing it yourselves or hiring a virtual assistant? So doing it yourself, I've never met a tattoo shop owner or artist that got into tattooing because they wanted to learn how to do marketing. I mean, you 100% can if you want to spend the time doing it. I mean, that's why we put these on, is to teach people how to do it. If you want to do it yourself, you 100% can. You just need to keep up with everything, build the stuff out, build the landing pages, and continue updating it and doing the split testing. That's one of the biggest things. If we work with a shop doing, let's just say Instagram ads, we never have one ad running. We typically have 9 ads running, and then we switch out the worst performing one every week with a new creative, change the copy on the landing pages. Like it's an ever evolving process with every shop we work with. We don't just build something out and then say, hey, this might work, good luck. We keep it going. Or hiring a virtual assistant to help you. The big reason most shops work with us is because all we work with is tattoo shops. We know the industry. Like I said, I've been getting tattooed for 19 years, from street shops to, I've been tattooed in Vietnam, Thailand, and I love the industry. We'll be at Villain Arts, Baltimore in April. We'll be at the Evergreen Invitational next week, giving seminars. We know the tattoo industry. So it's hiring a VA that has to learn the industry and then test what's going to work versus hiring us that we know what works from the jump. What do you do to build reporting for your clients? Do you deliver weekly for shops that you are on a maintenance agreement? We do a once a month Zoom meeting like this to go over all the analytics with any shop we're working with. Plus, we always work out of the shop's either Meta account or the shop's Google Ad account. That way there's always full transparency. You can log in there anytime you want and see what's going on. And we do that through a partnership integration, so you don't make us admins or anything like that. How much of the $1,000 goes to ad spend? Half of it. So we charge a flat fee of $497 or $997, depending on what we're doing for you guys. And then $500 goes to ad spend. Typically what we see is after about 2 months, shop will start raising that because they'll see that, hey, these guys are actually good. We're getting a lot more people in the door. So you can put up to $3,000 in ad spend, and our price doesn't change. Nicole, I hope you learned something, and we'll chat soon. Are you not InkLab? You are not InkLab, right? No. That name sounds super familiar. You're talking about the CRM, right? Sweet. Maria, shoot me a message. We'll chat. What's the best ad you recommend for booking? Are we talking on Google Ads? Okay. No. Well, no, we're not. But I thought they did a CRM too, which is through High Level that they're selling as their own. I could be wrong though. Patrick, yes. We have a ton of testimonial videos. Typically, if a shop is thinking about working with us, we'll actually do a Zoom call with you guys so we can go over references. We can go over what we actually do, our results. We have a handful of shops that let us actually share their results. And so we're not picking and choosing from 3 months ago or a year ago. We'll show you what's happening this month at the shops we're working with. The best ad we recommend for booking. If you just set this up, this Google Ads that we just went through, going to a landing page, and if you're trying to get people booked out immediately, having them call your shop is really good. As long as somebody's answering that phone, that's a really good way to start getting people in the door immediately. Omar, no, $1,000 a month is either Meta or Google Ads. What are the differences between programs on your site? If you want to schedule a call with us, we can go over that. I don't want to take up a bunch of time with a sales pitch. I hate sales pitches. Everyone tells me on my webinars I should do more of a sales pitch. I'm like, I just don't want to do that. I just don't like that. But But yeah, if you do want to set up a call with us, man, we're a zero pressure shop. You'll actually probably end up talking to me as it is. Like we never try to push somebody into buying anything. If you want to do it, cool. If not, cool. Sweet. Sounds good, guys. Awesome, guys. Well, I hope that was helpful. We'll send out the replay within the next week. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to DM us or set up a call or whatever. We're always here to help, guys. Jacob, pretty much immediately. What's the contact info? So I will put our website in the chat. All right, so there's our website, and we'll also throw the Instagram in there. Cool. And if you text that number that you get the notification from, it will actually come into our system, and one of us will be able to see it. Do you think you get us booked out consistently 6 months in advance? Depends how much you're spending on advertising. I mean, you can get booked out as much as you want. It just depends how much you want to spend. All right, guys. I'll send this out. Thank you so much for attending. We'll let you know about the next one, which will probably begin the beginning of April. If you're at the Evergreen, we're putting on a seminar there, Marketing 101 for tattoo shops. We'll cover building a past client list, Instagram ads, Google ads, and a handful of other things. So hope to see some of you guys there. Have a good one.